going on, everybody? There's a little bit of delay between the camera and my screen here and the chat window and stuff, so if there's any delay, I apologize for that, but I can see what you guys are typing, for those of you that are joining. Any delay, I apologize for that. Alright, audio works, so I know that. We'll give everybody a few minutes to join in. I appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out. We're at the big 1,000 subscribers, which is a huge accomplishment. We just passed 1,100 today, actually, so it's pretty awesome. And it's a big moment for us and for the channel and the progress of the channel and stuff. So it's going to be exciting to see what happens and how we continue to grow. But like I said, we're going to wait a few minutes, let everybody kind of roll in. It was kind of a last-minute decision. We hit the 1,100 subscriber mark today, a little over 1,100 now. I think we're at 1,104. And so I was like, hey, let's just do it tonight. So a little bit of a last minute, but I want to make sure I give everybody a couple minutes to come in and hang out. Those of you that are already here, I see there's a few of you already here. Thank you so much for tuning in right off the bat. I really do appreciate it. Hopefully y'all brought some questions with you. Don't feel like you have to, but Robert, thank you so much. Yeah, it feels good to be at 1,000. I appreciate that. It's only because of you guys that we're able to get to this point, and it's such a weird feeling. I was just telling my wife this morning, I was like, man, isn't it weird that there's a point where we hit 100 subscribers, and I was like, man, we are great. We're at 100. We're in the triple digits. That's so good. And now we're at 1,100. So we've been 1,000 since that point, and you know, it's only possible because of you guys. And it's been an absolute journey, and I never thought it would take off like this, like it has. And you know, it's unreal, because there's a lot of people that start channels with all sorts of different content, and it takes them a really long time to get to 1,000, and sometimes they never hit 1,000, so they kind of give up on that. And like I said, it's only because of you guys that we're able to get to this point, and I really do thank you for that. It has been a heck of a journey, and we've been able to do some awesome stuff with this, so it's been an absolute pleasure, and I really do owe it to you guys, and I thank you guys so much for making this happen and making it possible to turn this hobby into so much more than I ever intended. Again, thank you, and Robert, thank you for that. Come work at the car after church sometime. We'll see what's going on. We'll see where we're at as far as what work I can use a hand with. There is some stuff coming up that I could use some help with as we continue to get this back on the road. Last episode, we just got done with that massive overhaul of the engine, so it's almost to the point where we got to do that first drive and first test to make sure our engine's actually good after all that work. So that video is going to be made this week and coming out this weekend. So if everything goes to plan for that, like it should, cross your fingers, then we shouldn't have much more to go, which is kind of crazy to think about. We've got to weld up the floors, and then we can start really working on the interior once we weld up the floors to make them whole again, because there are the rust spots in the transmission tunnel underneath the pedals. On the passenger side, there's a couple holes from like the air conditioning hoses and stuff that used to be in the car, so we've got to plug all that up, and then we'll be able to put in stuff like the sound deadening material, some insulation under carpet. We do have a carpet kit. The door cards, we've got to work on the windows. We do have new mechanisms. I picked those up at the big Auto Sports open house. While I was there, I grabbed some, and we'll be able to fix our windows, and we'll be able to start working on the interior. So some of that stuff is definitely a two-man job. So. Jimenez, you got a 78. That was my first 124, was a 78. It was a green one. It's one of my videos named Fiona, and she was the first car I ever worked on. I learned everything I know for the most part on that one, and it was a 78. And 78 is kind of a weird year because stuff started to transition to fuel injected, but remnants of carbureted stuff, kind of like 79, where they officially transitioned the carbureted to fuel injection kind of mid-year. But 78 is kind of funky. It's got a one-of-a-kind wiring diagram, kind of leftover parts. So if there's any car to learn on, it was going to be the 78. So. But what color is yours? Mine was like I call it like a Hulk green, if that makes any sense. Again, if you guys are just tuning in, thank you so much for joining in, hanging out with us as we have crossed over the 1,000 subscriber mark. We're actually at 1,100 as of this afternoon, and that's an awesome feeling, getting that far. It's only with you guys. Thank you so much. Again, if you guys have any questions, anything like that, feel free to drop them in the comments. I can see them. There's a little bit of a delay, so if I don't answer it right away, there's a delay between the camera. Orange, is it like that bright orange? You kind of see all the pictures online of the orange ones are kind of a bright, vibrant orange. I always thought those were a cool color in the earlier ones. The pre-75 really got the big old chunky bumpers on them. So I love the orange ones. I think these cars deserve a super bright color. I've seen some navy ones in black, of course, but everyone I've seen usually has some kind of bright colors, like a bright yellow or red. The most common is the red, kind of Ferrari red, if you will, and then orange and yellow and bright blue. You know, the 850 project that we did at the very beginning of the channel, that was a super bright blue. Fun fact about that color on the 850 project that we started out with, the whole channel was based on. I painted it myself, but I actually used the blue that I used was used for marking handicap spots on the ground at parking lots, and it's like safety blue, I think is what it's called. But yeah, it's just an oil-based paint, Rust-Oleum paint. That's what I was able to paint that whole car with, was that blue paint, and it turned out really well. I was able to buff it a couple times, get some of that orange peel out, and it made that car look good. So I think these cars definitely deserve the bright color, and the orange is definitely up there with the bright colors. Hopefully y'all can see everything. I'm looking at my camera to make sure that we're got everything in view. Do a giveaway? Oh man, I'm actually not opposed to that. We can do a giveaway. How about that? We can do some giveaway for you guys as of passing the mark, the 1.1 thousand subscriber mark. Let's see if we can. I'm gonna see if I can get y'all some stuff that was actually from the car. I think it'd be kind of cool, and I'll sign it for you if you want. I don't know. I'll find something. Whether it's the other taillights, our old taillights. You know, we did that taillight replacement on this one a few videos ago. I still have those taillights, the original ones that came on the car. We can probably do those, or what else? I'm waiting on the registration. We have it insured and all that stuff. I'm just waiting on the paperwork. Everything is still super slow from COVID and all that. So we're waiting on those plates to come in. I'm not opposed to giving away the license plate though, but we kind of need it. For so we can do this one. How about that? So we've got North Carolina. There's not a lot of people that work on the Fiat. Yeah, I've heard of that. On the East Coast, it seems like everyone's asking for help on their cars because there's not a lot of actual shops that do it anymore, and it's kind of like a dying art, kind of like Volkswagens, right? Not a lot of Volkswagen repair shops are around anymore, especially the old ones like air-cooled Volkswagen. So this is kind of a dying art, and so it's really important that we keep content like this out on YouTube. That way we can keep these cars on the road and keep going. So hopefully some stuff that can help you guys out in the future with keeping your cars on the road and Definitely invest in the shop manual. That's another big thing. There's a lot of good information on there, and that's my go-to for a lot of answers. And if I can't find something specific that the manual doesn't address, I always go to the forums. If you go to the Mia Fiore webpage, it's free. You just create an account, and it's got all the manuals and forums and questions and people that will gladly help you. That's some good advice I've gotten off there as well. But Robert asked about a giveaway, and this is, I have two of these license plates. Now this license plate is off of my original 124, the green one. And that's the one that I learned everything on, and we'll gladly do a giveaway on one of the license plates. I think these are kind of cool. You can hang it up in the garage. I'll even sign it for you on the back if you'd like. I'll toss in a sticker, and we can get you one of the drink plates too. We'll toss one of those in there for a giveaway. As we continue on in the video, the little stream here. So, Daniel, welcome to the stream. Love your videos. I have 79 white. Very nice. 79, is yours the fuel injected or carbureted? Because that was kind of the 1 year where everything kind of switched over to the FI like this. And we were just talking to another gentleman here with the orange 78 when everything was kind of coming to the end of the carbureted side of things. Now, 2013 white Abarth, I'm assuming that's a 500 or a 124. I really like the white, the newer 124s. I really like them. They're kind of hit or miss. Either you like them or you don't. But everyone's views on that is different. Carbureted, all right. So that means you probably have a whole bunch of smog era stuff on that still. A lot of vacuum leak opportunities, you could say. But yeah, 79 is a fun year, and a lot of the body style changes in 79 matched my 82 here. So there's a lot of commonalities there. But I do appreciate you stopping by and checking out the channel. 500, all right. We just had one at the Vic Auto Sports open house. I think that was 2 videos ago. Now about 2 weeks ago, we interviewed someone that had the blue 500 Abarth, and that was a really cool car. Way smaller in person than you think, but definitely a fun car. And she had it as a standard. Now it's her daily, so more power to her for that one. So again, if you guys are just joining the channel, the stream right now, we're at 1,100 subscribers as of this morning, a little over 1,100, and we are just kind of hanging out. Ask your questions. I'll gladly answer them as best I can. We're just hanging out, having a good time. We're only going to be on for about 45 more minutes or so. Head in and have some dinner with the wife, spend some time here at home, but we're just hanging out. And I just want to reiterate how grateful I am for you guys to put the effort and subscribe to the channel and really getting us to this point. It was originally a hobby on the side, working on the cars. And it kind of just developed into this, where here we are every week, putting out a video. So we're just kind of hanging out, ask your questions, and I'm going to help you as best I can. Hopefully this week we're going to be working on a first drive, will it run kind of video for this. We are just coming off that last video on Friday, and after doing those 4 hard days of rebuilding this thing all over again, you could say I was really tired at the end of each day having to do that thing over 4 days. Right after work, come home, do 6-7 hours of it, rinse and repeat, do it again. But we should be doing a Will It Run video this week, so be on the lookout for that. Mark, hey there. You have an 81. Awesome. You're 1 year older than me. On mine, I got the 82 here. Thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Again, we're just kind of hanging out, celebrating 1,000 subscribers. I appreciate you guys being here and appreciating what I do. And like I said, it's a hobby that has just kind of taken off into so much more, and it's only possible because of you guys. So I really do appreciate that. And so watching every week and being supportive of the work that I do here. I'm not perfect by any means, but we got to keep these cars to the road. So that's what it's all about. Enjoying the cars and the community that these create, and it's just all about getting our hands dirty and getting the wrenches turning. We will be your way for Freakout, bringing 3 cars from South Florida. Daniel, awesome. I think I just posted today that I shared a link to Freakout on Facebook as a Facebook event. and I'm really glad you're going to be there. I will definitely be there. I will be at Freakout. It's in my neck of the woods. It's only about an hour, 45 minutes an hour from where our home base here is at the garage. So we will be there. If you don't know what Fiat Freakout is, Fiat Freakout is the U.S.'s biggest Fiat gathering event. I won't say it's the U.S.'s biggest event, but we all get together and we share cars, stories, what we're working on. And there's cars in all stages. Some like mine that are still being built and don't have the most perfect paint. There's some that are show cars that are still original from the factory, stuff like that. So if you have an opportunity to come to Fiat Breakout, please do. It's in the Woodlands, Texas, which is just north of Houston. And we will be getting together, and it's an awesome 3-4 day event. There'll be rally racing. You can race your cars, all that kind of stuff. So definitely check it out online. All the way from Florida. That's quite a far away, too. Mark, a 76 back in high school. That's awesome. My first one, the green one, Fiona, there's a video on that. That's my 78 that I first started on everything with. So, Dennis, have you replaced the windshield seal? So when I have replaced the seal before, when I had my 78, I did do a brand new window seal all the way around it. But like when we installed this window, we were very fortunate to have it already installed for us. So that saved us a huge amount of time. If you do have to replace the rubber seal all the way around the window, I definitely recommend having another set of hands. My wife was really helpful in that video, keeping everything steady and in place because everything wants to kind of wiggle out. But you do have to pull off the metal frame on the outside. You can slide it off and take it all off together, pull out the glass, put the new rubber in, and then the glass, and put it in that way. Do you think I'd be to replace the motor mounts without taking the motor out? It can be done. If you watched last video, we had to get the motor. I tried to cheat the system basically, and I lifted the motor up on its own with the head off, and I was able to get enough lift, but that's because the head was off. So I don't know if because when the head is on, there's not much space between the firewall and the back of the head, and so if you go to lift, you're running the risk of running into the firewall with the cylinder head. So if you can get it high enough, so if you put like a chain on a stud from the exhaust side and a stud from the intake and try and lift that way, you may get enough, but you're kind of pushing it with that, because you just, I don't know, that's pretty delicate, not removing the head and everything. You have to do a head gasket, and then by taking out the intake and the exhaust, you have to do new intake and exhaust gaskets. It probably could be done. You just have to really take your time. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm sure there's a lot of people who have done it. But I was very lucky to have new motor mounts when I reinstalled the engine. So I'm not going to have to do that anytime soon. But I'm sure it can be done. A little from the top. You don't ever want to put the jack under the oil pan, obviously, because you'll dent it, and it'll just make a mess, and you run the risk of damaging your oil pickup. You don't want that, because you'll really ruin the engine. You're going to be pulling it all over again. So. Again, if you guys are just joining us, welcome, welcome. We are celebrating our 1,000 subscribers on the channel. Again, we're at about 1,100 today, and it is beyond I could have ever imagined. Sometimes I get people asking me, what made you want to start the channel, especially because we're at this point now where we're over 1,100 now today. Why did you start the channel? Well, if you went to the beginning, the very beginning, I had bought a 1968 Fiat 850 with a rear engine, two-door convertible by Fiat, and I was looking for information on it. So I was really big on looking at YouTube videos and forums and discussions and manuals on how to work on it. I had a little bit of experience working on my 78 Fiat 124. but it's like a whole another monster for an 850. It's so different in a lot of ways. It's not the dual overhead cam. It only has one cam, and it's got push rods and valve train and all that stuff, so it's not like a typical Lampredi engine. So I couldn't find any information anywhere on it, and I couldn't find any videos. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to make the videos. And so I was really awkward at the beginning, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I never edited a video in my life. And so I just kind of went for it, and that's where the channel kind of started with that 850, and it's kind of carried on to this. I have a question in the radiator where the coolant is. I put my fingers in the radiator. What does that mean? So if you have oil in your coolant, I would pull your dipstick to see if you have coolant in your oil. So what happens is, let me see if I can grab a gasket here. Alright. This is why you keep extra stuff around. Emerge, you have a 77. Awesome. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us on our 1,000 subscriber hangout session here in the garage. So for the question about the oil in your coolant, so you have your cylinders, and then you have your head bolts that go through these holes on the side, and then you're going to have coolant channels. So these are all around it because you're trying to cool the cylinder right here. And so what will happen is sometimes this metal ring will blow out, and if that blows out, that's when you have a blown head gasket. That's where that comes from. But if there's, where it's cut in, you want to make sure that you're checking for the coolant in your oil as well, because if one is mixing with the other, it's probably going the other way as well. So definitely pull that dipstick and take a look at that. Or another thing you can do is drain your radiator, drain all the coolant out. You can actually crack the bleeder on the side of the block and take a look at that as well, and change it. The other thing is, how long has it been in the car? How long have you had it in there? Because if it's been there for several years, it could be left over from past issues that the car may have had, so definitely take a look at that. But pull that dipstick and take a look at it. If you see any sort of like milkshake color, that's a really big sign to that. A lot of bubbles, like air bubbles, as far as like it's been mixing, so make sure you take a look at that dipstick. Have I done a video replacing the clock face glass/plastic yet? So I've not done it on the clock because my clock is actually broken. It doesn't have the glass, it doesn't have the trim ring around it. But I did do a video with all the gauges when I cleaned and redid the dash, made a custom dash, where we took the gauges and we took the glass out, took the trim ring off, and got the glass all cleaned on both sides and reinserted it, and bringing fresh life back into those gauges. So definitely check that video out. It's on my 124 playlist. I don't remember exactly which one it is off the top of my head, if it's part 1 or 2, or if it's its own separate video, because I did it a while ago. But it's going to be the same concept as far as changing the glass. You can get aftermarket glass for it. I've even seen some people cut plexiglass, which you can pick up at like a hardware store, a little sheet of it, and just trim it, fit. You can do that as well. Happened recently. Yeah, I'll just pull that dipstick. Jimenez, I would just pull that dipstick and take a look at that oil in there and see what it tells you. Because if it's not black or like new oil, like the gold of the new oil, when you're starting to see it, it's pretty light colored, that means you're starting to get coolant in there and you could have a head gasket issue. Did you replace the top yet? No, we have not replaced the top. The convertible top that's on here is actually, as far as I know, the original one. The back plastic is super foggy. We will be replacing the top. That'll probably be one of the last things I do, just because I want to work on all the interior and everything first. We'll probably even pull the top convertible top frame off, and we'll sand it down smooth. We'll re-grease all the connections with lubricant and things like that. That way it's nice and easy to pull up and down. But that's probably going to be the last thing I touch is the convertible top, just the icing on the cake, literally. So. All right, Robert, thanks for joining in. I appreciate it. Mark, you and Eldest has argued one. Mark, so if I was to rate the button control arms, everything installed, I definitely recommend getting the control arms that already have the bushings installed. You're gonna save so much time, unless you have like a garage press. But I'm telling you, getting them already pre-installed is such a relief. If you go to my suspension video, I have a front suspension video where I talked about the three options that Vix provides for control arms, and it's kind of take which one fits your needs the best. But I ended up going with their highest available model because it comes with grease fittings, so they're longer life on those. But if I was to rate it from a 1 to 10, how difficult? I'll say it's probably right about middle of the road, right about a 5. As long as you have the right tools, so if you have like a pallet jack that really takes a lot of the pressure off, and just don't be afraid to take your time, take plenty of pictures. Always invest in a good, definitely get one of those. Those are also available on the Mia Fiore website. If you join that forum, they have a library section where they have all the manuals from all the different years, especially for you, year specific for your car. But I wouldn't say it's too difficult. It's definitely something that can be done at home in a garage. I mean, I did it with nothing more than a 7/8 socket, a 19mm socket, and a wrench, and a jack, a pallet jack, not a pallet jack, a floor jack. And, just really took my time. Don't be afraid to take pictures at every step along the way. And, again, what's important is you do not torque everything down until you have the full weight of the car on the suspension, plus about 250 pounds. So the reason you have about 250 pounds is because it's the equivalent of the weight of 2 people, in theory, person and a half, the driver plus the passenger. So, what you'll need to do is take the wheels off, have it on jack stand, but you'll have the weight of the suspension on the jack stand. So don't put it on the actual mounting point on the side of the car. You're going to want to actually put it underneath the control arms, and you want to pack the car with weight. Some in the trunk and in the front, with everything else installed as far as like the engine being in it, the seats, all that stuff. And then you'll torque it to the torque specs. I think the lower control arms are 72 foot-pounds, and the top is 65, which sounds right. But look at the manual, I think that's about right. Definitely something you can do on your own, especially if you want to like grow in your skill and your ability. That's a really good place to start. You'll definitely want to get an alignment afterwards too. We haven't done that yet because we haven't gotten it on the road, but we'll be getting an alignment as well. We can do an at-home DIY alignment. There's a lot of videos on those, straying and straight lines and adjusting and all that, but we'll take it to a shop. Again, if you're just joining us, welcome guys. We're doing our 1,000 subscribers hangout sessions here in the garage. If you have questions, bring on the questions. I appreciate you guys being here. We are just talking about the car, future of the channel. On that topic, as we talk about the growth of the channel, we do have another project lined up. I will say that, and that's about it. I don't want to say a whole lot more. All I'm going to say is there's big things coming, and we're just going to continue to grow and do things that you can do at home. And hopefully it's something that you guys will have interest in. This car is going to be staying around for a while, so don't worry about this car going anywhere. My wife really likes it, so it's going to be sticking around. So, but we do have projects lined up, and the channel's going to continue to move on with other car projects and other things. Maybe with this car and the next one that we do, we'll do that whole series on the next project, and then we'll just kind of go on. Maybe we'll go across Texas in the Fiat and see if we can make it, and what kind of issues we run into, or maybe in the other car that we'll do a trip in that one and see how far we can get and without any issues, stuff like that. Just to see it in action, and it's not just something that we build and then we get rid of. A classic 500. So Daniel, I would love to do a classic 500. Like, you don't even know how badly I want to do a 500. But a classic 500 actually is really hard to find that's in manageable project shape. So I am by no means a body guy. Like, body work is the worst. That's why I leave the paint all cracked to heck, because I don't want to sand it and repaint it. When I did that 850 project and I sanded the whole car down and painted it and it still wasn't absolutely perfect, I swore it off ever again. But no body work for me as far as that. I'll do minimal, like one panel, okay. So Bondo and sanding for 10,000 years, okay. But a Classic 500 would be a really cool project. I would really like to do one. I just can't find one that's affordable, that's got a lot of the parts there, because they just get swooped up so fast. And I don't know if I would fit in one. I mean, I'm 6'5", so I barely fit in this thing. With the steering wheel, my knees are like touching the wheel, driving like this. So on a 500, I'm not sure. There is a guy here that has, in my local Fiat group, who has a Classic 500, and I've sat in that. And I actually don't do too bad, but I was sitting in the passenger seat. So I don't know what a driver's seat would look like, but I would love to do a Classic 500. I'd even like to do an X19. That'd be cool to do as the next project as well. So it just kind of depends. Dennis, you took the words right out of my mouth right there. An X19, I'll definitely do one of those, but those are another one that's kind of tough to find, that's in decent shape, that's not just completely rusted out or already been parted out. Because if they've been parted out, it's just going to cost so much to just replace all those little things over time. We're very fortunate with this one that 90% of it was here. So we got pretty lucky with that. We even got we're missing our driver's door glass. We have the glass, but it's just not in it. But again, the X19, I just cannot find one. I've even gone in a search area like 500, 600 miles away from my area, and I can't find anything in an X19, let alone a 500. So, well, who knows what could be out there for now, but yeah, an X19 would be a lot of fun, especially mid-engine. I know a lot of people have done the Honda VTEC switch, swap in those. A little bit more reliability, that'd be a cool project to do. So, yeah, I'm not opposed to all those, I just got to get my hands on them. What do you think for a compression check should be readings for the PSI? What range would be acceptable? So, of course, the higher the better, usually. So if you have a used engine, not a fresh rebuild like mine, a good compression on that engine will be in the 120 to 140 would be a good place to go for that. For compression, 120, 140, I'd say is pretty comfortable. On a fresh rebuild like this, we should see 150 or more. Looks like we're having some issues with the internet. Hopefully y'all can see me. My internet's acting up. We've been having work done in our neighborhood, so they've been off and on with alright, hopefully it's a little bit better now. Closed a bunch of stuff. So, but yeah, so I would say 120 to 140 would be pretty healthy on an engine like this. But if it's a fresh rebuild, you're looking at 150 or more would be really good. With brand new rings, I mean, there's no reason. It's going to break them in a little bit to get them seated, but that's what I say is pretty comfortable on that. If you have something around like the 90 or 100 psi range, like you're getting low, it'll run, but you're starting to get low. Something like a Volkswagen engine will run a 90 psi, 100 psi, no problem, because they're naturally lower compression. They have like an 8-to-1 compression ratio, but these have a little bit higher than that, 8.5 or more. Aaron, thanks for joining in. I appreciate it, sir. If you guys are just joining in the stream here, we're doing our over 1,000 subscriber celebration. We've made it past the 1,000 mark, so we are hanging out in the garage answering questions and stuff like that. What do you think of changing from mechanical to electric fuel pumps? Dennis, that's a great question and a super common question, especially on these old cars. I'm a fan of electric fuel pumps. The only thing with those, and there's nothing wrong with mechanical. I don't want that to be misconstrued. There's nothing wrong with mechanical pump. I just like electric, as long as you get a good one. So everyone that I've done, my Green 78 that I had, the 850 that I did, and this one naturally came with an electric fuel pump. But both of the first two, I did convert to an electric fuel pump. For the 850 project, I kind of hid it by the gas tank because you want those pumps to push fuel, not pull. So the closer it is to the tank and the less it has to fight, the better. And the other thing you got to be careful with electric fuel pumps on carbureted cars is the pressure, the fuel pressure. So if you have a carbureted car, you want 3 to 5 psi of pressure in a fuel pump. So you want to make sure that you read the specs on those when you're putting those in the car to not overdo it. Because if you overdo it and too much pressure, you're going to get by your rings and stuff. Or your rings, your needle and seat and your float. You can bend the float and stuff like that. So you don't want to damage the internals of the carburetor. Would you ever consider doing a team video with Eldest Builds? Well, we had an opportunity to meet Jesse from Eldest Builds 2 weeks ago at the Big Auto Sports open house. Really cool guy. He's just like he is in his videos. He's super nice, full of information, super down to earth, really nice guy. And I would totally do a video with him. I sent him a text this afternoon. I got his information. So all I can say is be on the lookout for that in the future. Is we're definitely trying to work something out. We are not too far from each other, actually, which worked out even better. So we are working on something like that. I know a lot of people have asked through Instagram, Facebook, and here too, when are we going to team up? And I think that'd be a really good video. Jesse's really cool, and we got along really well at the open house. So I definitely think a good collaboration is in the works, is what I will say. So be on the lookout for that. I can't give you a timeline yet, not yet, but it's coming. So while we've got more people here, we'll be doing a giveaway of a license plate. This license plate is off of my first 124, and so we'll be giving this one away at the end of the stream, so make sure you guys are still logged in by the time you leave the stream. I'll sign it, I'll send you with a drink sleeve, one of the koozies, and I'll throw in a sticker, and I'll mail it to you guys as a thank you for hanging out for me in our 1,000 subscriber giveaway. Mark, I learned the number one thing you should probably think about is switching to the gear reduction starter for sure, or rock paper recharge. Yes, Mark, I definitely agree. The gear reduction starter is probably one of the best upgrades you can make. For this car, the old starters are really big, really heavy, and they're slow. And so if you do have the ability to change to a gear reduction starter, I highly recommend it. That's what's in here, and it is strong. It'll last. They don't get hot as easily. They're worth the investment. Mertz is a good dude to help me along with my question. Yeah, absolutely, Mertz. I totally agree with the novice question, and that's the thing. Robert, welcome back. Workshop, what's going on, man? And that's the thing about the question is I know that there's a lot of people that have these cars that are very pure about them and want them all original, and I totally understand that. And those have their place, but these are also cars that are meant to be enjoyed, and I don't think there's any such thing as like a dumb question. And that's what I want people to come here for, is to know, like, you can ask questions. Because there was a point where when I first started, I didn't know anything. And it was kind of frightening to be, well, I'm going to go ask, and I don't want people to, like, blow me up because a question about the starter, right, the gear reduction starter that he was asking me about, like, how good of an investment is that? How hard is the suspension job? Like, those are totally reasonable questions that I don't want anybody to feel like they can't come forward in this car community, especially on these, and say, hey, I need help with this. Like, what do you think about that? And that's what it's all about. That's why I do this for you guys. Because if I learned it from somewhere else, and I got to pass it on to you guys for however long YouTube stays around and keep these cars on the road and keep these alive. Because in episode 1, when we got this car, I didn't bring the camera back with me, but this was actually sitting behind the guy's house. He had a wooden fence with a little tiny gate, like the width of your body. And we walked back behind that gate, and there was a massive forest behind his house. And between his fence, there was like a little concrete pad and then trees. So that concrete pad, half the car was on it, and the other half was in the dirt. So it was sitting like this on flat tires. The top was down. That's why the floors are so bad. It's the way they are, and we've got to fix those. These cars are definitely worth being saved. I mean, I had the block machined, I had the head, I had all the parts. I just had to get them cleaned up and kind of catalog what I have. But these cars are worth saving, so that's why I want people to come here and to Eldest and to him as well and say, hey, this is what I'm experiencing. You know, what's going on. So I definitely don't want anybody to feel like there's a silly question. Workshop, are the valve guides good in your head, or will they have to be replaced? My valve guides are good. So in the last, we're very fortunate with that because that was going to be a machine shop job for sure. While we were at the open house, we picked up new valve guides, brass ones from Vic, just in case. So I have them for a future project if I ever need them, which I really hope I don't. I'm not going to put the bad juju on myself, but they were very good. I sent some pictures to Matt at Vic, who's been like my #1 guy for questions and things like that, and he's always like, yes, I'll gladly help you out, and that's why I like working with him so much, is their willingness to help you out and answer questions and stuff like that. But my valve guides were good, no scoring in them. In the video, it's really hard to show with the flashlight because it washes it out. It's a small area, but good cross hatching in there still for lubricant to lube them up, and there wasn't big scratches in it or anything like that. I've got that valve over here, actually. Got it. So yeah, this is that bent valve. You kind of see it's a little crooked there, but yeah. So our valve guides were good. And this could have been way worse. So I'm glad it didn't damage it, but yeah, the valve guides are good. Let's go with the machine shop. So Mark, the machine shop that I use, it was a guy that's been doing it for 30 years. And I don't need to go to the machine shop very often because I just don't have that high a volume of projects. But when I went to go pick up the block from him way long ago, the owner of his building was selling the property, and so he said, hey, look, this is going to be, one of my last 10 jobs. I have all my other clients. I'm going to pick up their stuff when I'm done with it, and that's going to be the end. So unfortunately, the guy that I went to, he is no longer going to be doing it. He's just kind of retiring and taking that as a sign that he's done. And so I'm going to have to find a new machine shop in the future if I need one in my area. But a good machine shop is hard to find because some of them will really mess you up. So that'll be on my list in the future as we move on with the projects in the channel. Again, if you guys just joined the channel, thank you so much for joining the stream. We're doing our 1,000 subscriber celebration. We're going to be doing a giveaway of a license plate. I'll sign the license plate for you, throw in a drink sleeve and a couple stickers, and I'll mail it out to you guys for hanging out with me here in the garage and helping me get to this point, turning my hobby into something that has kind of been so much more. And so I really do appreciate knowing you guys for that. So thank you for that. We're going to be staying on for about 15 more minutes. It's 6:45 my time, so we're just hanging out here in the shop. Ask me any questions you guys got. We do have shirts and drink sleeves still available. These are fairly new, merchandise is fairly new. Only a couple of videos ago I started getting this. We still have plenty of the t-shirts available. They're $15. We've got medium through 2XL, and we've got plenty of drink sleeves left. We did sell some at the open house. So we do still have some left. We sold some between some of the videos. So we do still have some available. So if you want some of those, you can send me an email at garagetimetv@gmail.com. And we'll get your payment squared away, and we'll ship them out to you. Dennis, on the 903cc, which ran on unleaded, I've seen engines with valve seats changed to handle unleaded. Dennis, I don't think changing the valve seats will be necessary. When I did my 850 build, I just ran on premium. I think a lot of people do that for just the older cars. They just run on premium gas. Yes, it's more expensive, but it's just a little bit better for you. But I don't think changing the valve seats will do that. If you can't really change the valve seats without really machining the head. Unless you're thinking about like the guides and stuff, but I wouldn't think that too deep into it. It's not going to do like major damage. It's just a different kind of fuel. Let's see what else we got. We have big stuff coming in the channel. If you guys are just now tuning in, we do have another project lined up for the channel. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not going to say what it is, what brand it is, nothing like that. But we do have a project lined up in the future. So as soon as we are getting close on this project, wrapping up on the Fiat, we'll be moving on to our next project. And hopefully, I think you guys will like it. It's something that I've always wanted to do and work on. So it's going to be a really good opportunity to share that with you guys as well. Hopefully, you guys keep coming back and checking it out as we continue to grow here. We just passed that 1,100 subscriber mark today, so it feels pretty good. I was telling my wife this morning how, we started and we got to 100, and it was like the best thing ever. We wanted to have a party getting to 100, and here we are 1,000 later, and so much has happened, so much has changed. Cameras have changed, and editing has changed, and all sorts of stuff. So a lot goes on here between the projects and a full-time job and school and all that good stuff. So, again, I thank you guys so much for supporting the channel and what we do here in the garage. This goes to show you that you don't need a massive shop to do this kind of stuff. Last episode we pulled the engine, stripped it down, completely blew it all up, got everything cleaned up, reassembled it all together, put it right back in 4 days. And we don't have crazy equipment. We just got an engine stand, a cherry picker, and some wrenches and sockets. The main thing I use for projects, this is one thing people ask me too. It's the number one thing that I use all the time for working on. It's really just one of these Husky toolkits. I don't even use half of it because they're standard. But this is really almost all I use. Is this and then regular wrenches. Nothing crazy. I mainly only use the metric side. I don't really ever use the standard side. So this is, I did the 850 with this set. I also did my green 78 124 with the set, and I've been using the set for here on my 82. So I don't want you to think that you have to go out and spend this crazy money on these fancy big tool sets or anything, because you can do it with stuff that you can pick up at the hardware store around the corner from your house. The Bosch Yeah, Mark, I totally agree on the fuel-injected system. I've never worked on a fuel-injected system. Everything I ever did before leading up to this point was carbureted. And I was kind of nervous about it because it's electrical signals and receiving signals and sending signals and good connections to good ground. Those are all really important. And so I was really nervous. But I started running the wires, and the best part is with the factory wires that it just kind of falls in place where it's supposed to sit. So all the injector wires, I didn't have to try and diagnose what's number 4, number 3, number 2, number 1. It just, the length of them told me where they went. They're kind of like plug wires, where they just kind of are as long as they're needing to be. Same thing with the temperature sensor at the front of the water heat. That's the nice long one, and they're color coded. So the cold start injector is blue, right? So it's got that, and so it makes it super easy. So it's a lot easier to diagnose stuff because you can just unplug it, and if nothing changes, you plug it in, and it changes, and you know what your problem is. Like, that's a good start. So, but in 2000, it's much easier to work on an Alpha. I have not had an opportunity to really work on an Alpha. I do have a friend that has an Alpha Spider, and a lot of the components that are used between the Fiat and the Alpha are really similar, which makes sense for Italian cars. But a lot of the connectors to this fuel injected also, and so I also recognize the connectors and stuff like that. But I haven't had the opportunity to really dive into one and work on one, so I wouldn't be able to give an honest answer as to what's easier to work with over the other. Workshop, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it. I will enjoy my weekend. Unfortunately, I do have to go to work tomorrow. I'm one of those few that has to work on Memorial Day, but not so bad. Rogue TS1, welcome, welcome. Am I going to freak out? Absolutely. I'm definitely going to freak out this year. It's only about an hour, 45 minutes or so from my house. I will definitely be there. I shared a post today on my Facebook group. So if you guys are not on my Facebook page or part of my Facebook group, I do have a group on Facebook. It's pretty small right now. We're still developing it. I think I've only got 12 people in the Facebook group. So please join the Facebook group, Garage Time TV Facebook group. It is a protected group, which means that we just filter the people that come in. I don't want a bunch of people spamming it in T-shirts and mugs, all that stuff that scams on Facebook. So definitely join our Facebook group so you can show your project, what you're working on. You can ask questions there. I'm in there, and I'll be able to help you guys out in that spot as well. But I'm definitely going to freak out this year. I'm really excited for that, and I can't wait to meet a whole bunch of you. If a lot of you are going, I highly recommend it. It's like the biggest Fiat event of the year, and it happens to be in my neck of the woods. And hopefully by that point, we'll be able to just take this up there, and you guys can see it in person and see it running and driving, and we're almost to that point here. So it's very exciting, but I'm definitely going to freak out. No room cramped on an Alpha. Yeah, well, you could say the same thing about well, maybe not so much. I will say that his Alpha engine compartment was a lot narrower, but I think it's because the Alpha spiders are narrower in the front. I'm not sure. I only spent like an afternoon, like an hour and a half, 2 hours with him with it. So I didn't, like I said, I didn't get my elbows deep in the thing, but no reason to when it runs. Just left it alone. Again, if you guys just joining in, thank you for hanging out with us. We're doing our 1,000 subscriber hangout session here in the garage. We just passed 1,100 subscribers today, which is unreal. It doesn't feel real. And I'm forever grateful and so appreciative of you guys. We've got about 7 more minutes here. In about 5 minutes, we'll do our giveaway of our license plate and our koozie with the stickers. I'll sign it and everything. I'll mail it out to you for hanging out with us. Again, if you have questions, anything like that, feel free to reach out. Ask away while we've got a few more minutes here before we punch out for the night and back up. Like I said, unfortunately, I have to work tomorrow. Don't know how to talk this much. Yeah, Mark, I definitely can't agree to get this thing on the road. It's going to be really exciting. We're like right there after rebuilding the whole thing. It's going to be so like amazing when we started from a massive pile of parts. And I really wish I would have done better video of all of the pieces just exploded everywhere. It was in totes all around his shed, and the engine bay was completely gone. The cross member in it had a big cut in the cross member, so we had to replace that. And just kind of on the downhill now, because once we're running and driving on the ground here, we'll go start moving an interior, which is kind of the fun part, making it look like a car again. Also, channel with a focus on Fiat. Yeah, Mert, I do have quite a lot of Fiat content, to say the least. But hopefully, if there's more stuff in the future that's not necessarily Fiat content, there will be Fiat content around. I don't want it to be misconstrued by any means, but we'll be keeping the Fiat around. We're definitely keeping this one as we move on to other projects as well. Once we get close to wrapping up this one, we'll start working on the next one. And we do have the next one, like I said, but I'm not going to spoil that. So definitely agree, 124s are definitely worth saving. There's so many parts out there for them, and there's so much information that it's kind of silly not to. Like I said, I found this in the back of a guy's house behind his fence halfway into the woods, and it was wet back there, so it makes sense as to why the floors were in the condition they're in. But we're very fortunate with the shock towers, which is another common place for rust. Nice and fine, still has that undercoating on it. Super solid, took a magnet to it, no problem. So that gave me a lot of confidence when we originally bought the car. But what really surprised me the most is when we took the buffer to it, and this thing was so hazy. The paint was just, you couldn't see anything in the paint. You didn't really know the condition of the paint. And we just took the Meguiar's Ultimate Compound and microfiber pad on it. And, I mean, I'm no buffing expert. I'm going to tell you that right now. I have no idea what I'm doing. I just turn it on and I rub. But we were able to bring some shine back into it and give it some pride. There's scuffs all over this thing. I don't want it to be construed that this thing is like immaculate. It's got cracks in the paint. There's scratches and scuffs and all sorts of stuff, but it's got character. Mertz, I'm lucky to be near Vic Auto. Yes, I'm very lucky to be near them. Only about 4 hours, I want to say. So it's pretty nice when I do need a part. As long as I get the order in by noon, it's shipped out that day, which is normally next day in Texas. So if I do have an issue where I break something and I need a replacement, it's normally within 24 hours I get another one. And that's just kind of the service they provide. And again, that's why I work with them. They're so good. They're on the ball. They take care of you, and they know their stuff. So Oliver Canby, I don't know a whole lot about them. I've seen them in the forums and things. I haven't met the owners or anything like that, and they haven't spoken to me or reached out to me or anything. So I don't know exactly where they're located. But I go through Vic. They're my number one for sure. Yeah, it's definitely nice being so close because I feel bad for the people that have to have like 2-3 days for shipping. I've kind of been spoiled, so there's no shame in that. San Antonio. Yeah, Mark, definitely being in Texas is pretty nice for these suppliers with two of the big ones being in Texas. It makes a big difference. I think there's some of the Midwest. They're the ones I use for my 850. They have a lot of 850 parts. They're in Ohio, and I think Allison's is in California, if I remember right. So, all right, we've got about 2-3 more minutes here. If you guys have any last-minute questions, please drop them, and I'll answer them for you. I'm going to pull up a random chat person watching the stream generator to do our giveaway for the plate. We'll also toss in one of our drink sleeves, and we'll do a couple stickers, and I'll sign it for you. I'll put in a little note and everything. So if you guys have any last-minute questions, make sure you do that. I'm going to pull up this generator thing really quick. Make sure you guys ask your last-minute questions. We're going to do our comment thing here. All right, anybody last a bingo ball machine? Yeah, I don't think that's going to work. All right, we're doing our random generator here. It's going to give me a winner for our raffle giveaway. Nick, welcome. You're coming near the end of the stream. We've got a last couple minutes here. We are doing our giveaway. We're going to do one of our license plates and one of our drink sleeves. I'll mail it out to you guys. So make sure if you have any questions really quick as we get ready to close out, that you post it there while I'm getting our generator working for us. All right, we've got our winner. Mark says, my last question would be how well your parking brake works on an incline, but you're not quite there yet. Mine doesn't quite work well. Mark, you can adjust your parking brake. I've always found the parking brake's been really touchy, it's like if you do one spin of the nut too much, it starts locking up your brake. But if you do one turn out, it doesn't hold anything. So my kind of pick to that is I just pull it as high as it'll go, and then I put it in fifth. And the combination of the brake and fifth gear usually keeps it up. Worst case, you can always take a chalk with you. One of these, it's a nice sense of security when you just put one of these behind your wheel, just in case. But all right, our random generator is up. We have our winner. Our winner is D. Mertz. Mertz, you are our giveaway winner, so you'll get the license plate, a drink sleeve, I'll get you some stickers, I'll sign it for you, and I'll mail it out to you. So send me an email at garagetimetv@gmail.com, and we'll get this mailed out to you in the mail as your prize. But with that, it is the end of our live stream, guys. We have been on for a little over an hour. I want to thank you guys so much for hanging out in the garage. We have come so far, and there's so much more to have from the channel, and I really hope you guys stick around for the long haul in the end. We still need to get this thing running on the road, so make sure that you guys stick around, keep checking in. Mertz, well, you won this time. Congratulations. Make sure you send me that email, and I'll get this out to you. But thank you guys so much again. I mean, I am so grateful, and I do this for you guys, and it's a hobby that's taken off so much. I really do appreciate it. Make sure you guys, if you want a shirt, they're $15, size medium to 2XL, they're $15 a piece. Send me an email, garagetimetv@gmail.com. Same thing with the drink sleeves are $5. Send me an email, garagetimetv@gmail.com, and we'll get these out to you guys. This helps me buy parts and things like that for the channel to keep on growing, so I appreciate the support. And I will definitely see you guys at Freakout. Make sure you are staying up to date with the content. Hit the bell on the notifications so when new videos come out, you will see that. Make sure you guys are up to date on my social media, Facebook, Instagram at garagetimetv@gmail.com. It's for merch, Garage Time TV on Facebook and Instagram, and even on TikTok. We're starting to work on our TikTok videos, trying to be hip with that. And then also our Facebook page, our group page. So make sure you guys join our Garage Time TV Facebook group, so you guys can share your comments, your pictures of your project, what you're working on, and things like that, and we all come together and help each other out. So again, thank you guys so much for hanging out with me and getting us to this point on the channel. I do it for you guys, and I seriously cannot thank you enough. So with that, we'll be seeing you around, and I think my classic sign-off. And until next time, we'll see you. We'll see you guys.